Hey, what is going on, guys? And today I will show you all the light machine guns with the best class setup in Call of Duty Black Ops 4, where I'm going to rank all the light machine guns worst to best. Welcome guys to Dfe Network. My name is Anders and I'm currently in the custom game menu where I'm going to show you all the machine guns with the best class setups, and then I'm going to rank the guns from worst to best and tell you why they are performing better. So first I'm going to talk about every machine gun, sight, attachments with the best class setup. Also going to show you how you can make use of the operator mods, and then I will rank them. So first up is the Titan, which has really good damage, range is good, fire rate is decent, and as final, the accuracy is really good. And as the operator mod, he has the Oppressor. For sights, he has the Reflex, Recon, Holographic, Dual Zoom, Threat Detector, and the NVER. And attachments, you have Extended Max, FMG, Quickdraw, Stock, Extended Max 2, and FMG 2. So what I use here is the Reflex, because I think all the other sides are kind of useless and not really handy. And for the attachments, I use Quickdraw and Stock, because you don't really need Extended Max, because this weapon has 75 rounds already in the mag, what is really large, so you don't need that. FMG is kind of useless, so I don't want to use that. Quickdraw and Stock is actually just the perfect attachment what a machine gun needs, because it really aims very slow, and when you aim with the gun you move very slow, so Stock will help a lot, and Quickdraw will also help you a lot with those gunfights. You want to have the Reflex on it because the iron sight isn't that great, still good, but Reflex is always better. For perks I use Engineer, and there's a lot of equipment in this game, so Engineer is really a must have in this game. For perk 2 I use Dexterity, because I think it is the best perk to use for perk 2, or maybe Cold-Blooded, but Cold-Blooded isn't really that strong in this game, so Dexterity for me. You definitely want to run Ghost, because UAV get literally spammed in this game and you don't want to get killed by an enemy what is just waiting around the corner. Same goes for the Dead Silence. When people use the sensor, you pretty much counter it, and they will also don't wait around the corner to kill you. And of course perk 3 Greed for the Dead Silence. So now I'm going to talk about the operator mod, because actually it is really decent. It suppresses enemy near the bullet stream. Well, I felt, not many use this, but I felt it is pretty annoying when you get suppressed by this, because the flinching your shooting gets really weird, and with the flinch you give people, you may up winning the gunfight, so it's actually pretty good, but you have to sacrifice some good perks for it. So I sacrificed that silence and dexterity for it, but it is still good to win gunfights. And now we have the Hades, what is a really high fire rate light machine gun, and the accuracy is a little bit off. The damage is still great, and the range is also great. And you have for sights, you have Reflex, Dual Zoom, Holographic, Threat Detector, and the Elo sight. And for attachments, you have Laser Sight, Steady Grip, FMG, Hybrid Max, Laser Sight 2, Suppressor, and Rapid Fire. So what I use here is the Reflex. The iron sight is really bad on this gun, so you definitely want to have Reflex on it. And also for the attachment I aim with this weapon. I don't use it from the hip, because I think it is way better when you have it aimed. So I use Rapid Fire and Suppressor. You could change Suppressor to Hybrid Max, that is kind of handy. It already has 65 rounds in the mag, so that is pretty good, but some more can't hurt, and it reloads much faster. But Suppressor is good that you don't get seen on the radar when you shoot, so that's really good. And for the perks here, Engineer, Dexterity, Ghost, and Dead Silence, and of course the wild card for perk 3. You can also use the operator mod, but that makes this gun a must fire from the hip. What is pretty good if you use the operator mod, so you get this crossbar, but you can't use a sight. You pretty much aim from the hip, so that is pretty good. You definitely want to use laser sight then, because it obviously helps with hip fire. You can maybe use steady grip, that actually reduces the recoil from the hip, but I think you don't even need it. But I think crossbar is actually really good. And you have to sacrifice one perk for it, and that is Dead Silence. You don't really use this side here because you have fire from the hips. You have an extra perk, so I put that in Dexterity, so that's kind of handy. And as the last machine gun, it's the Dfe Km 750. What is a really high damage light machine gun with the same range as the other one. Oh, sorry. With the same ranges as the other one. And it has really kind of low fire rate. Accuracy is a little low, but I'm getting back to that because the accuracy is actually kind of good on this gun. It doesn't really matter. It shoots still straight, and the operator mod is the fat barrel and has 50 rounds in the mag. Besides Reflex, Recon, Holographic, Dual Zoom, and NVAR, I would definitely use Reflex here. And for the perks, you have High Caliber, Grip, Extending Max, Fast Max, High Caliber 2, Quick Draw, and Rapid Fire. So you definitely want to use a sight on this weapon because it is really weird. This iron sight is actually not that bad, but when you have a camo on it, the first part of the sight is colored, so that is really annoying. So better use a Reflex. For the attachment, I actually don't use high caliber rounds because I think this weapon doesn't need any more damage. The only thing what it needs is quick reaction in gunfights, and you know, if you have rapid fire on, you're actually going to do more DPS, and I think that's better. And if you don't, you know, shoot on the upper chest, high caliber is useless. So if you use this, it is actually going to be better. And for the perks, I use Engineer, Dexterity, Ghost, and Dead Silence, and of course the white card. You can also use the Operator mod. It is actually really good. This will actually hit your targets easier because you fire massive shells. This actually really is good because I definitely had some times that I actually missed and it still hit the guy. You can't really miss with this. So it's actually really handy to actually use the operator mod in this weapon, but you have to sacrifice some good perks for it, like definitely Dead Silence. But you want to use, of course, Engineer and Ghost because they are really a must. So that is it for the light machine guns, and now we're actually going to rank them so you know which one is better. So the worst machine gun is the Hades, and it is mainly because the accuracy and the recoil isn't really that great. You can use the crossbar, what makes it a little bit better, but you have to fire it from the hip and it costs a lot of points for in the creative class. This gun is actually really good for close range, but I should not suggest using it at far range because the recoil can be a problem, but you can still do decent damage on long ranges because the range is really good, although the recoil isn't really that great. And with the crossbar, the accuracy is actually kind of good. You can still use this from far range, but you're shooting from hip, so that is really kind of bad, but that doesn't really matter that much. But this gun is really good, but the other light machine guns are just better. So the second is the Dfe Km 750, what is really stable and has high damage and really good range, but has a little bit slow fire rate, but with rapid fire it fixed that. And with the quick draw attachments, you can really react fast in gunfights, so that is really great as well. It is really good for long range and even short range with the quick draw. And you don't really need high caliber rounds on this weapon because the damage is also really great. And with rapid fire, you do more DPS per second anyway. But there is one bad thing. If you miss a shot because it is so slow fire rate, it can end up dying. So be sure to hit all your shots. But with the operator mod at the fat barrel, it is really hard to miss. And with this barrel, you can actually really just shoot on the side and it still hits the enemy. But in general, this gun is really good. And I think it is one of the best guns to use in the game. So be sure to actually pick this gun up. It is really good. So as final, the best light machine gun is the Titan. This gun has really good damage, is really stable, has good range, has good fire rate, and is really good for every range. And the attachments really help you to win gunfights. Quick draw is good for quick reaction, and stock makes you good to maneuver better when you're actually shooting the enemy, so it is all around good. And because it is so stable and has good fire rate, it is really good for close range and for long range. And the Oppressor can help you win gunfights by flinching the enemies more, but you really don't need it. So those extra perks can help you out really good. The large magazine size is also really great because you can take out a lot of enemies without reloading, so you can just keep firing when you see a lot of enemies coming. So just hold the trigger and keep firing. Because it is really steady, you can just spray it all and it still is stable. This weapon is definitely one of the best guns to use in a multiplayer right now, so definitely good to use this weapon. And with the class setup I showed, it is really great. But guys, that is all I have to say about the light machine guns, but that wraps up the video. I thank you guys for watching. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, and if you want more gaming videos like this one, then you could subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. But I see you in the next one, and have an awesome day.